Hi everyone, we wanted to address a comment that was made in our video about land buyer be aware, or I'll put the picture of the video inside of this particular video, but there was a comment in there in regards to buying existing, like an existing farm versus buying raw land and making it into a farm. So Dad and I talked about this, and we wanted to share with you our thoughts. Like, for me, it was important for us, instead of buying an existing farm, is to go ahead and buy raw land. And it's because we wanted to be able to design the land on our own terms, the way that we wanted it to be. You know, we had kind of like a Victor map, and then we searched for the land that could fit into what our design was. You know how some people do like a vision board? Well, we already had, like, I know I went and got a Victor map made where I wanted all the little structures to be, where I wanted the crops to be, where I wanted a pond to be, where I wanted all these different items. And then we went ahead and bought land to kind of like fit that design. Dad, you want to talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah. The main thing, we didn't buy nobody else's property. We took the time to look at the land from the elevation, from the plot plans, the location of the property, and we took our time and designed the property exactly the way that we wanted. We didn't latch on to another person's dream about how we want to implement our design. We did it from scratch. So we come along real good. You know, got a nice screen running through. The perimeter of the property looking real nice. We got 3 acres cleaned up. You know, about 3-4 acres cleaned up. Put a house on it if we decide to go that way. We got a room for agriculture, planting different plants. Mm-hmm. And we got a whole forestry area if people want to take a nature walk, you know. So I think my daughter did a wise job in selecting a property that she could design the way that she wants to design. Still getting some property that they already got a house there, they already got a barn there, they already got this and that, you know. And we have to work behind that, you know. And plus, when you have open land like this, you can save money because you can take your time and do it the right way, the way that you want it to be done, you know.
And I think what our concern was, if we had purchased property with an existing pond, what is in that pond versus if we create our own pond? Mm-hmm. If we had purchased property with a well, what is going on with that well versus if we created our own well? Just little things like that. People don't all live the same. Not everybody has the same hygiene when it comes to like animals. They don't treat their animals and their water supply separate, you know, and I kind of just didn't want that for myself. Another thing is I was just concerned about, you know, like Dad says, working behind somebody else. Some farms are very, very old, and you don't know what the structure is like, especially for a lot of these dwellings that have crawl spaces. There's a lot of farms that have houses with crawl spaces, and I personally don't like a crawl space because some of them have issues that cause people to get sick, like the mold and stuff like that. And if you don't have it properly sealed, where you have to pay sometimes up to $20,000 if you don't have the crawl space properly sealed, the mold spores can get up and affect other people. I'm just really particular about that. And also another thing, some of these houses were built, like when we did see some farms, some of the houses were built prior to 1987. So as you know, if a house is built prior to 1988, they have to do a lead disclosure. So you don't know if there's lead paint in some of these older houses. So we kind of wanted to just start from scratch and do our own thing with our own design, have the plants that we wanted to put out here, because we're not, some people just kind of like build a farm and it's not aesthetically pleasing. Like, we want to be able to come into our environment and feel like it's paradise on earth.
Yeah,
right? Like Fairchild's garden, like my dad talks about.
The problem is buying a house from a owner is that you might wind up having to put in 50, 75, 150,000 more. Say, for example, you might purchase a house for 300,000. Then you got to do the electrical, the plumbing, probably the septic tank, the roof. You know, they say, well, get an inspector, you know. And sometimes the inspectors ain't guaranteed, you know.
Yeah, because once the wall goes up, once there's walls, you don't know what's behind those walls. So we're very particular about that kind of stuff.
It's best to get your property and take your time and design it the exact way that you want it, you know. Get an architect, you know, sit down with the architect and show them, you know, you draw the plan up first, how you want the diagram, how you want it. You go to an architect with that design, y'all sit down and you show him exactly what you want, how you want it designed, and you go from there. You'll save yourself a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Instead of going and buying a house that you don't know nothing about.
Mm-hmm. And buying something that has like an existing pond.
Yeah.
You don't know what those people allowed to go on in that pond.
And plus, you don't know the liens they may have against the property. You might have to wind up going through a legal situation. It's a headache, you know.
And then there's another thing that people talk about that goes on in the South, that some graveyards are not reported. So people can tend to have their loved ones out there, but they just take the headstones away. Like, they have a vast amount of land and they bury their loved ones out there, and instead of reporting it, they just, when it's time to sell, they just take the headstones away. And so you're out there with land and not knowing that there's people that's buried out there. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like a lot of little things that we're particular about. I mean, for me personally, it was better for me to look for raw land that was formerly used for forestry. Like, they were using this to take the pines from this land. So some Georgia, land or tree harvesting company used to control this particular property for a number of years prior to us owning it. So even though it went through a couple of hands after that, it was never used for anything other than hunting and harvesting trees.
It's very, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
So we don't have to also deal with a lot of, like, sometimes farms are close to things that cause health issues, like dump. Sometimes they're near dumps. Sometimes they're near, like I said in my other video, they're near industrial plants. Sometimes they're near railroads, waste facilities. And another thing that's major for me, I don't like the cell towers that are near some of the farms, and I also don't like the electrical, what do they call that, like power stations.
Yeah, you talking about them stations
for electricity, right? A grid kind of thing, right? So I don't, we didn't want that for ourselves, because we believe in health and keeping not just ourselves healthy, but our loved ones that are younger than us that will come on board eventually. We want them to be healthy. So we want to start with a clean slate. It's kind of like a blank canvas, and then add our creativity to that blank canvas. There's a lot of people that was like, oh, it's a lot of work doing it from scratch. But when you find something that you fall in love with that moves your spirit, then you're dealing with on a whole nother level. It feels like you're building an arc. You know what I'm saying? When you start from nothing to making it into something. So that's why we went ahead and said, you know what, instead of buying an existing farm, we'll go ahead and buy raw land and develop the farm that we want for ourselves and our family.
And please do not buy no land close to a cell tower.
Yeah.
They say you have to live about 500 feet from the tower. I wouldn't much trust 1,000 people in that cell tower. Because when we went to that meeting and that man said his wife would die of cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they live right in the range of that cell tower. So, be very, very careful, and we hope that this information is very informative.
Yeah, we just wanted to tell you what our opinion is. I don't know how other people feel. There are certain farmers that do have a level of standard of how they keep their property, how they keep their house. But we're just not that kind of, I guess, trusting in that way. And we wanted to be able to put our own thoughts and creativity to land that we're developing ourselves. And plus, it's a good project for us, father and daughter, to bond and create something that our legacy, our children can say, this was built by great-great-granddad. This was built by great-great-grandmother, something like that. That's way more important to us than buying land that was from somebody else or a property from somebody else.
And please keep invoice on the paperwork, the money that you spent on the property, the contractors that you hired.
Yeah.
Keep all that information. It's very, very important. They say keep the receipts. No receipts, they phase out. Take a picture of it, and keep that information, available for you. Okay.
Yeah, so that's all we wanted to do real quick, is to talk to you about it and then let you see all the things that we envision. We show a couple of pictures, but we're going to add a little bit more because, and also show you a picture. I don't know if it's too personal, but show you a picture of the Victor map that we had before. It's changed a little bit since then. We can show you the old Victor map. And it's kind of where we're going with our design right now. It's kind of similar to it, but it's varied a little bit because now we're dealing with a creek that goes through the property. We never thought we would have a creek, but it turned out to be a blessing. So yeah, that's it really. So I hope you liked this video. I hope this answered your question. I don't know how you feel about it. Please comment below. And remember to please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.